Welcome back to another episode of the Black and Raw Podcast. I'm your host, Tina Kuda Tondo Ivanzabaya. I ain't going to repeat that. Here's a podcast that's creating the dialogue and the space for black men to be their most authentic selves. Now, my guest today happens to be one of my closest friends and my cousin. So Taku comes onto the podcast today to talk about his transition from Zimbabwe to the UK, and we talk a lot about our friendship and a lot of the things that we're interested in. And this conversation is going to just be like you're a fly on the wall, listening to the sorts of conversations that me and my cousin have all the time. So we talk about politics, we talk about AI and media, we talk about Zimbabweans that are doing really well and where Africa should be on the world stage. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Please let me know what you think. This is a part one of a two-part conversation, so go and check out the second part next week. Thank you for watching and subscribe. So, Taku. Welcome to the Black and Raw Podcast. It's good to have you on, man. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, always. The Black and Raw Podcast lasts every day, bro. Like, every conversation that we have is...
Yeah.
I feel it every day.
You know what, I think that's why I've actually loved having you here. And I remember when you first came and we were literally like, we had so many interests and like we would talk about different things like politics and, you know, society, philosophy, football, basketball, like music, and there was so much that we debated on and we both enjoyed. Like,
it's beautiful, you know, like, it's very rare to have someone with whom you can discuss such profound things, you know? So, yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, yeah, because Saturday, I sent you a podcast about Putin and Xi Jinping and a discussion about those two talking. And another one as well, which was even just sort of on that politics level.
I think it's something of great interest to everyone because Xi Jinping is now perhaps the most powerful man in the world, because the President of the United States isn't in such a strong position. Vladimir Putin has had his cloak of invincibility taken away from him. And so now Xi Jinping stands alone at the pinnacle. So yeah, I think you opened up something that was, by sending that link.
Yes. It was just very interesting because I've been hearing a lot of podcasts recently where they're discussing about Russia and even America's tensions. And what was that politician I sent you that was in the 70s? And it was in the Cold War. He would advise vice presidents.
Oh, Henry Kissinger.
Yeah, Henry Kissinger, yes.
Henry Kissinger, if ever there was like a dark force behind it. But I tell you what, Henry Kissinger played a very pivotal role in Zimbabwe's independence movement.
Okay.
Because it took place in the backdrop of the Cold War, where the United States felt that they had to push the decolonization movement so that African countries wouldn't gravitate towards the Soviet Union and communism. So that was the rhetoric back then. So Kissinger went to the Brits and said, look, give these guys their independence, otherwise they're just going to become more Marxist and communist. And fair enough, because the Chinese and the Russians were supporting liberation movements in Africa. So that was a big fear. And so Henry Kissinger was at all these conferences And the thing is, Zimbabwe's independence took a very long time because there was the UDI, which was the white settler minority declaring independence from the Brits. A lot of people say we were independent from the British, but no, when we gained our independence, we were gaining it from the white settler minority party, which had rebelled against the crown and declared independence. And so they too were like a pariah, you know. But because they had, I guess, such strong structures and a good army, they were able to deter the liberation movement for a long time. Also had a lot of support from South Africa, who felt that the apartheid government felt that if Zimbabwe fell to the blacks, then the tide would come down to South Africa just as quickly. And so they made the white people hold out for so long, you know. So those are the dynamics that Zimbabwe gained independence into. And Henry Kissinger was...
I know he doesn't have his shining a track record in South America. You know, he supported coups and stuff
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
what America did in South America,
Yeah.
borderline human rights crime, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
And it's, you know what, when you see history and you hear about it, and like you're just thinking, oh my gosh, the Cuban Missile Crisis, like in terms of, like, we've been on the edge of things. Like the Cold War was tense.
Kind of like Ukraine before Ukraine, if you think about it.
The United States didn't want any Soviet influence in their backyard. And so they decided to take action in Cuba. And anywhere else in South America where it seemed as though Soviet-leaning governments were taking over. They would just put up a coup and install a dictator, you know.
Put that on, yeah. And I don't know if my cousin Panache told me about this show called Snowfall. I don't know if I told you to watch it, but it's basically about how the CIA...
Ain't that about cocaine?
Yeah, the CIA paying cat cocaine. And the fact that was to support wars in Colombia, fighting communists, and that's where the money from the drugs were making went back to the CIA so they could, do shit to South America.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So, I feel
as though right now we need another wave of like independence in Africa, you know. We need to be free of this phase that we've been in of, you know, what do they call them? When you're sailing across the ocean and the wind isn't blowing your sails and you're sort of stuck. Doldrums, they call doldrums. That's where we've been in Africa since the independence movement, which was great for all of us, you know, free from the yoke of the oppressor. But I feel like now we need to step up and take control of our own destiny, you know. And I think if we work hard to make it happen on our part, everything else will fall in place, you know. If I ask you this question, if I bring up like Saudi Arabia or Qatar, if I mention the word Arab, what is it that you think about today?
Influence.
Arab money and influence, dog.
You know, they're also the sponsors of the summit that the world leaders go for.
What, like G7 or whatever?
Nah, it's the global warming summit. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I know them. Yeah.
They're sponsoring that.
Yeah, but listen, what I'm getting to is, if you conjure up the image of an Arabic ethnicity, it's now about Arab money. 20 years ago, that wasn't the case. 20 years ago, the image of an Arabic man conjured images of terrorism and fear within Western society. You know, that's after the 9/11 and the war on terror, you know, and all of that. And the Arabic region was under so much chaos, but they've managed to reform their image within a very short space of time. And that change did not occur within the Arabic diaspora that's all over the world. It occurred within Arabia itself. So that now Dubai is one of the prime shopping destinations in the world. Qatar wants to buy Manchester United. They've already hosted the World Cup.
Yeah, they just hosted the World Cup and got through it. You know, we all knew about what was happening for the migrants. They got through it. And
Qatar is about to buy Manchester United.
Potentially.
Well,
also one of the biggest clubs in the world. Let's be honest about that.
So what I'm saying is, I think that if Africa prospers from within Africa, then black people all over the world will be a lot more respected in whatever country they're in. Because for whatever accomplishments we make in the United States, in the United Kingdom, wherever there are black minorities, they will always see black people as people who come from that continent which isn't prospering. And that fosters the outside image. But the good news is we've got examples from many other peoples over time, like what I've just said with the Arabs, the Japanese, the Chinese. They all went through these phases when they were looked down upon and everything was down. The Japs got nuked, bro.
Twice, bro.
They got nuked twice, and they came back from it.
Yeah.
We can do it, bro. I honestly believe in black people, which is why I don't care. Now we can bring up the issue of affirmative action that you wanted to say.
Although, before that, I did want to say a point on what you just said, because we've talked about Chinese investment in Africa, and we've talked about how Africans can empower the money that they're getting from China and, you know, put those resources back into the country. But also that, I remember I say to you often that Africa could literally be the next powerhouse of the world. We need a green evolution, right? Where are all the resources? Where are all the people? Where is all the space? It's in Africa. So we need to be taking advantage of that. And I think they are building I can't remember what it was called, but it's like a tree line across Africa.
Across the Sahel, they call it the Great Wall, the Great Green Wall. Yeah.
And I love that idea. I mean, they're doing it out of necessity because the desert is just
it's expanding.
It's just expanding. But it's also going to protect homes. It's going to protect people's livelihoods. Like, you're also
interesting to see how that works. I've seen them re-green desert areas in China quite successfully. So I'm hoping that can work.
And they're there, so you might as well help out, lads.
Yeah, and we kind of need it. We kind of need more space. If we can terraform the Sahara, then we can terraform Mars in a time or whatever, you know.
That'd be bonkers, you know, terraforming.
Yeah. Maybe the key to that is like desalination.
What's that?
When you turn ocean water into fresh water. So you're removing the salt, desalination, you know. So most Arabic countries do that, you know. And Israel does that. Yeah. So, but it's a very expensive technology.
I mean, they got oil, so kind of helps.
Yeah. Fair enough. So if we can do that in Africa, because I think one of the big problems in Africa is the lack of water. In general, like there's a lot of population areas that fall under dry and arid regions, and so there's always an issue of like food security. I don't know if you've seen how the war in Ukraine might cause a famine in the Horn of Africa because most of their grains come from Ukraine.
Yeah.
So you see, there's some fundamentals that you need in order to move forward. So I think addressing the issue of water can go a long way in helping Africa develop, I think.
Yeah, honestly, I think it just needs to sort of happen, you know what I mean? Because we are seeing it with China, we are seeing it with maybe China the most. But, yeah, and Tokyo and Japan, as you were saying. But it's time for us to be there. Time for us to be at the table.
Yeah.
You know, it's time for us to be at the fucking
because
table.
Look,
like,
our people are having to resort to social justice movements to guilt trip us a seat at the table. We should force ourselves a seat at the table. We can do it, you know. I mean, it's a good method. We can just guilt trip them to say, hey, you guys screwed us over. Please give us some, whatever, you know.
But yeah, as you were saying, we need to be seen as power players, as Dubai are now. So, I think we can do it. I'm hopeful we do it because it also makes for a better planet, to be honest with you. Because if we're having, you know, not challenges, but if we're having big boys at the table, China's a big boy, America's a big boy. But if you've got all these African countries, like, we're huge. Our continent's huge, bro. The people are there. The people are everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So we can easily help. I don't know how we help build up Africa from where we are in our position, but I definitely want to be a part of that change because I want to see our continent and our people
Yeah.
at the table.
With this podcast you got going on, and what episode number is this, if I may ask?
So it's either 63 or 64. I'm deciding when it comes out.
Okay, yeah, that's great. This is the first videotaped one.
This is like the first live videotaped one. We're not going live, but you know, doing both at the same
We're
time.
trusting the technicians of Panasonic and Fujifilm.
So yeah,
I know the GH5 struggles in low light.
Because I want to get back in terms of I want people to find out a bit about you as well.
Okay.
Because you know you've been in the UK for a year, and you know we've just talked about Zimbabwe home for both of us, and I would love just to know. Could you tell me what your life was like in Zim before coming here?
Yeah, fair enough. You know, I'll have your viewers know that we had another podcast before this podcast where I feel like next time we should have gimbal cameras so we can record ourselves while we walk down the... You know, like the Gary Neville...
Oh, yeah.
What do you call it, Gary Neville?
The overlap.
The overlap.
Yes.
Bro, if we drew the overlap in the woods, you know what I mean, walking down the woods, down this nice little neighborhood.
That's so lit. That's lit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do the episode 2. So I actually feel in touch with my childhood today when I watch cricket, because one of my earliest childhood memories was my mom's older brother, my sekuru, teaching us how to play cricket, because we were all living at my grandma's house, and you know, it's just a bunch of grandkids, and he was there and he's like, yo, come outside, let's play some cricket. And we didn't really know how to play. He didn't even have a grasp of the rules, but there was such a wave of popularity coming through the country, and I think he just felt that, okay, if we teach these kids how to play cricket, maybe we're teaching them how to be cultured and how to be positive members of society rather than whatever alternative may have been there. So, and that other kids then used to come to my place to play cricket, you know. And we had to stop at some point because we were smashing in my grandma's window.
We've all done that before. We've all hit a window, haven't we? Just playing with a ball or something.
But yeah, it's just... I'm just thinking about that as I'm watching this game here. But yeah, you know, I think that the UK is a land of opportunity, which I like because it's you're moving from a place where you might be able to take your opportunity, but the environment doesn't support whatever it is that you want to do, and then to come to a place where if you apply yourself to a reasonable extent, you can actually make it, you know. I know that even now the UK isn't doing so well, perhaps because of Brexit and the COVID. It was all a tough time for everybody.
Everyone's going through it right now, to be fair.
Yeah, so as a person who was joking with me, they moved to the UK in January of last year and said that they could fill a trolley with almost 70% of the money that they were now spending, you know, because cost of living and whatever has gone up.
That's crazy.
So, but I'm here like, oh damn, because I've survived more hostile conditions.
Yeah.
I'm like in a primal mindset, bro. I'm like, okay, let's go. Okay. So yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah. No, definitely.
On podcasts and shit.
Yeah, it's been nice, to be honest with you, having you here because, you know, you came in summer of last year and you experienced some British heat. It was June.
Dude, it was terrible.
How did you come from a place of heat? But what's the difference then? Can you tell me? What's the Zimbabwe heat compared to UK heat?
You're not going to get 40 degrees Celsius heat waves in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
You're going to get 20 degrees Celsius as your average temperature going through the year.
Okay then.
Or even higher, perhaps.
Probably getting higher now because of...
It's terrible in October because that's the hottest month of the year and it's very dry. But Zimbabwe is on a plateau, so it's not as hot as it should be, lying in a tropical region. Because it's elevated, the weather is slightly cooler. So yeah, but there's months when it's actually really hot, fam.
Okay.
So you see they're playing this cricket now because it's winter in Zimbabwe, which is...
It's the coolest time.
Which, you see what it's like today?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a typical winter day.
Okay then.
And then maybe there's like some frost for like a month. But yeah, even now it's no longer as cold as it was. Like when I was a little kid, I remember like it would get really cold. So I don't know if it's climate change or whatever, but like it yeah.
I don't know, it probably is. Like mum and dad went in, I think it was December.
Oh yeah, and they were freezing.
They were freezing in the evening, bro. They were like, raw, it's cold.
So you get those cold days, yeah. You get those cold days.
So yeah, and you came over and we were having barbecues, and even then you sort of were here in the house for about 6 months, would you say?
Yeah.
Like, so it was literally like...
I was like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, dog. I was actually a little cousin in the house, chilling. Yeah, but it's been, oh my gosh.
What's happening?
No, Zimbabwe might lose this game.
Oh, come on, lads, come on.
But yeah, so yeah, it was actually great. Excellent vibes. Nah, it's fine. We've got a bit of background.
Yeah, so we're just...
the vacuum. Nah, it's all good.
But yeah, it was brilliant because then it was literally like, I think we had COVID and it was sort of just the family and, you know, everyone was by themselves and I had left university. And so I ended up going back in there around June and stuff like that and hanging out with everybody. But then I never really had that again after uni. So and then you coming over, it was literally like, oh my gosh, I've met someone
who I'd love to spend time with. Break the COVID bubble?
Say that again?
Was I the first person to break the COVID bubble?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, great. Cool.
But no.
Let's pressure on. You want to be the first person that gets into a house after a year when everybody's been locked up together.
Nah. Because and then I had uni again, and that was, I did my master's at University of Birmingham. So I did COVID, finished my third year, started my master's. So it was like back-to-back uni experiences, which had been not necessarily ruined. It kind of ruined it. It was annoying. Made the most of it, and I think lots of good things came out of it. This podcast came out of it. So I think COVID, as much as it was kind of awful, I think a lot of good did come out of it.
Yeah,
did come out of it. So I'll be honest, and I think the world needed a break. Remember you seeing videos of like fish coming back into reefs, or like I think there were dolphins in Venice, or like
and apparently like you could see certain stars for the first time in a long time because there wasn't smoke in the air in urban areas and stuff.
Exactly. So I think everyone needed a reset. I think everyone needed it wasn't a pretty break. So I think the world needed that, to be fair, because I think now afterwards we're seeing more people want to have a work-life balance. We're seeing more people want to listen. We're talking about 4-day weeks. You know, people are just trialing that. And other places are trialing that. So I don't think that would have been pushed as much without COVID. And so there's some good things, there's some bad things. But you coming back, you coming here to the UK and living with me, it was like, oh my gosh, it's literally just like uni again. I was like, I'm chilling with my boy, like we're going for walks, we're going to cinema, we're chatting, chilling. We're watching football, watching basketball, like it was just so much fun.
I am glad that I wasn't here for the 7-0. I would have died. I would have died, fam.
So and you support Man United, but that was fine because.
So it's one of those. Think about it. United has been mediocre for the entirety of my 20s. Imagine living through your entire 20s and your team is like crap. My team has sucked for 10 years. It is what it is. At least you've seen.
Panasonic, which makes great video, but then says, okay, we're not going to give you autofocus. And then you've got Sony, which makes brilliant cameras,
they do really good.
But just say, okay, we're not going to care about color science. And every camera company has its own shenanigans.
And then Fuji has face tracking and good color science, but you can only record 30 minutes?
Yeah. So Fuji is like the best hybrid camera.
Yeah.
If you dabble a bit in videography but are also a photographer, you'd be hard pressed to find better, and they've got that nice look.
Yeah, the aesthetic is nice.
Yeah, the little dials. Yeah. So Fuji is the company that goes like 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, like solid performance. And then these other guys are going maybe 9, 9, 5, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, there's more.
Yeah, So,
I guess because it caters to more people as well, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, they are good cameras. They're quality cameras. I think they're all quality cameras.
They're all being made in Japan. Like every camera of repute is made in Japan.
Shit.
Yeah. I don't know where Black Magic is from though. Could be American.
because I've seen videos when I was looking about getting my Fuji camera, because I had a Canon 3000D, and it just got to the point where when I was trying to take a photo, there was no aid stabilization, so like any change in light or anything, it would take like 10 seconds, 15 seconds to take the photo.
Was that the Canon?
Yeah, that was a Canon. And it was an old Canon, to be fair. It was about 6-7 years old.
It's just like my little GH5. Like the newer models are actually quite...
Yeah, I'm sure. Because you've got to have it, don't you?
Panasonic has got really good stabe. It's like top of the range stabe. Yeah.
So yeah,
but
that's...
they just don't want to give us autofocus. It's becoming redundant, but people are still going to need maintenance for their buildings. Those server rooms need to be maintained, So there's skills that are going to become more rewarding than they have been before. And then there's going to be some clerical, administrative jobs that are just going to get wiped out because you can just get a computer to do it for you.
Asian yet. I don't think I have. Oh my gosh. Nick Fury at his best. Samuel Jackson. I mean, Samuel Jackson can do no wrong anyway, but...
I'm sorry, I'm so behind on my Marvel films. But good. Yeah, nah. First, I have to watch Spider-Man.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Into and Across.
Into and Across.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're in for...
I'm not going to watch anything else until I watch those, because apparently those are the top-notch.
You are in for some of the best superhero movies you've seen.
Yeah?
One of the best Spider-Man movies you've ever seen. Honestly.
I've heard. I think I've got time for Spider-Man.
Yeah. But
time for Spider-Man and Batman. Like, since we don't have... the Avengers are done, right?
Avengers are coming back.
Really?
They've got...
As we knew them?
No, not as we knew them. No.
Yeah, so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Bro, who's gonna beat these Avengers? Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, the Hulk. Everybody was there, bro. Well, Black Panther.
Yeah, that's true. Well, listen, we've still got Black Panther. We've got Doctor Strange. You got Captain Marvel. You got Spider-Man. Who else is left? I mean, the Hulk could always make an appearance. I mean, he was in She-Hulk. He looked okay in that. But I think they've got plans to try and recreate their magic. Obviously, it can't be... The first Avengers movie is one of the best films I've seen. Like, just in terms of pure... I'm not even just like... Just pure enjoyment. I'm not talking about like narrative and structure and everything else. But it was great. It was great for what it is. And I absolutely loved it. And then, then the Infinity War was...
I'll tell you what.
Thanos.
Thanos is one of the greatest villains of all time. Yeah, I feel like he was the defining factor in those last two blockbusters. Yeah, because how do you beat a villain that kills everybody? Like, kills half of the universe just with a click of his fingers. That is like genocide, Holocaust at the highest level. You're the most evil person ever to live.
Yeah. The snappy thing. Like, and he was doing it by himself, just going to different worlds and halving people anyway. So he was like, I need a quick way to do this. So it's a very villainous way to think and to do. But I guess, you know what, that's what they're trying to do. Well, they're trying to top it. with Kang.
Nah.
My brother Jonathan Majors. Nah. Yo, I've been hearing about Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors is a villain in real life. What's he doing? Nah, bro. But yeah, look, I'm just more optimistic about Oppenheimer.
That's going to be... Christopher Nolan looks like he's back at his best with that one. I think... Tenet, it wasn't the best of films. It was a bit too...
Denzel Washington's son. I didn't know that guy was Denzel Washington's son.
And what's his name? The dude from Twilight as well.
Yeah.
The one that played Batman, isn't it?
No, look. Tenet was like a B-Tech Inception, because it's Christopher Nolan, it's crafted well, but then
it looks interesting and cool, and it's a spy sort of take.
It's ended up watching because it's Christopher Nolan. Yeah, like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. So yeah,
he's deserved and earned that reputation of like, if it's Christopher Nolan, I'm seeing it. And then his work with Hans Zimmer and
Hans Zimmer, bro. Hans Zimmer tickets are like £350 for the cheapest.
You know what my mates just did? Paddy, John, and all of them, Ty, they went to Czech Republic to go and watch Hans Zimmer because tickets there were like half the price of tickets here. So they figured out it'd be just a little bit more to go to Czech Republic and watch Hans Zimmer than buy a ticket here in the UK. I wasn't free because I was practicing for school.
Because the tickets for his London concert were like £350, bro.
How can you get away with that? How can they be cheaper in another country and then more... Okay,
yeah, of course.
I guess, it makes sense. It makes sense. But still, it's unfair.
Yeah.
But for some of us like us, you know what I mean? We're not all forking out 300 quid. Just, I want to watch Hans Zimmer, don't get me wrong. But if I could get a holiday and go...
a great experience.
to Hans Zimmer, that'd be a lot more fun.
Mm.
But yeah, Hans Zimmer is something else, isn't it?
He's so imagine the sounds of Hans Zimmer on a decent film. Like, the film score is already very nice, and then you get Hans Zimmer. He made I think he saved Timothée Chalamet. Dune.
I haven't watched Dune yet. What do you think on it?
It's got a Hans Zimmer soundtrack.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that alone kind of saves whatever comes. They've got it's a decent storyline and it's the guy who did Blade Runner.
Yeah.
2014 or 9.
That was a very pretty movie, to be fair. It was a very great movie, actually.
Yeah, so he does these visual spectacles. Denis Villeneuve. Yeah. These visual spectacles. So Dune is like a visual spectacle.
Mm-hmm. It's a space opera, isn't it? Like it's
like.
And see why they went for
like gentrified Star Wars. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's jokes. Gentrified Star Wars.
So it's gonna be interesting. Let's see what happens with Barbie 2 coming out the same day.
Yeah. Barbie, I was in the
They got grown men wanting to go watch a Barbie.
Exactly, bro. I saw that trailer and I was like, yeah, I want to watch Barbie. Oh.
Nicki Minaj soundtrack.
Ryan Gosling, and you've got the woman from Sex Education who sort of looks like her as well. It looks like Margot. And you got Margot Robbie. Come on, just alone. Margot's a great talent. She's great, gorgeous to look at as well. So makes sense for Barbie.
So it's a recipe for success.
It is.
Yeah.
I remember how we got onto this in terms of when I said Secret Invasion.
Right.
When you watch it, AI made the head titles of it. So when you watch it, I won't spoil it for us. I mean, I kind of spoiled it who made it, but
go ahead.
You're already seeing how AI can be taking jobs because someone would create that. You know what I mean? And I like it personally. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, it's kind of cool. I like it fits with the Cree vibe, and honestly, such a good series. When your enemy is someone that can change into you, you're in trouble. Or that can change into anybody.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
So it's like that blue chick from X-Men.
Yeah. So yeah.
What's her name?
Mystique.
Yeah, Mystique.
Yeah. I think hers is a little different because she can. To be fair, they're kind of the same actually. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's spooky. But then imagine that's an alien species that is.
So what do you enjoy about making podcasts like this?
Oh, that's an interesting question. You know what? Before we did all of this, I was getting super giddy. You were seeing me anyway. I was like, can't wait to do this.
Like, what the hell is he doing?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But I think what I enjoy doing is just having a chat with somebody, like finding out about things you go through, things you enjoy. Laughing with people is something that is just, it's holistic. You feel great afterwards. You're having human connections with each other and you're just enjoying yourselves. So when I can have humor, when I can talk about serious things, when I can talk about just life, and it's just something which brings me joy.
Brings you joy, yeah. And that's the thing. I can see that you're enjoying it, and that's always like a prerequisite. Step one of whatever it is that you're doing, you have to enjoy it. Which again now is the difference between living in the UK and living in Zimbabwe, for example. You can be skilled at podcasting in Zimbabwe, but you can't really have an anticipation that you're going to break out and make a living from it. Whereas with you, as you grow, you're 64 podcasts in. Joe Rogan started really blowing up like further down the line. A lot of podcasts that blow up on like episode
100 and
yeah,
or something
you know,
like that. Yeah.
Especially the very niche, the very, you have to build your fan base. So there's like a very good timeline ahead of you if you keep doing what you enjoy and perfecting your craft. Now the very fact that we've decided to set this up and test the engineers of Fujifilm and Panasonic is because now you're just stepping up your game, because once you start recording this way, what's stopping you? You can just pull up on, I don't know, Chihuahua. What's his guy? You can do a podcast with that Chihuahua guy.
Oh yeah, the
Munya Chihuahua. Yeah. He's got bars.
Funniest guy in Britain.
Do you know? He's got bars, fam.
Bars? What do you mean?
He's got bars. Like,
he's got bars. Oh yeah, listen. Those videos are great.
Like, if jokes aside, they're jokes.
He's got bars.
But he's actually spitting, fam.
Yeah, exactly. He's a baller. I love that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're seeing Zimbabwean men and even Zimbabwean women, like with V. Kativu, we're seeing our generation, us young people.
She's out here with Michelle Obama.
Yeah, she was Prince Harry the other day, bro. In America, she's hosting the Diana Awards with him.
And apparently, the Pakistani chick who was on the cover of Time magazine or whatever was at her birthday party, as you said. Yeah,
they're best
she
friends.
Pakistani or
I can't remember.
Or Afghan. Yeah, either way, yeah. Shout out to her. And she was there, bro. Yeah. I was like, okay.
So, and there were other Zimbabweans that were there as well that were on the come up. And so, we're on the come up as Zimbabweans.
We're on the come up. Yeah, we're doing well. Except this cricket team. Let me shut this out before it depresses me. Can't be supporting United and the Zimbabwe cricket team at the same time.
It's so much pain. For listening to the episode. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And I don't think I have much more else to say to you guys. Episode 2 will be out. Well, part 2 will be out next week. So stay tuned for that as well. Thanks.